A vicious murder or a tragic accident? When 42-year-old OnlyFans model Kat West is found dead, a great mystery unfolds. In the end, there is a verdict. But is there justice? Or has someone been convicted of a murder that never happened? In 2004, Kat Martin married her husband Jeff West in Las Vegas. The two met at a tanning salon where Kat worked. Jeff works as a police officer on a campus and previously served in the Army. A year after their wedding, the couple had a daughter named Lola. After giving birth, Kat quit her job to take care of Lola and the household. At the end of the 2010s, however, she found a source of income to supplement the West family's finances. She started an OnlyFans account long before the platform went viral in 2020 as a result of the pandemic. On her account, Kat uploads exclusive content for her followers behind a paywall. Her husband Jeff supports her in this. He has no problem with his wife showing herself freely online. He helps her shoot photos and videos for the platform. She is active under the stage name Kitty Kat West and offers subscriptions starting at $15.99. Kat has found her niche. She styles herself similarly to Hollywood icon Marilyn Monroe. This goes down well with her customers, and after a short time, she has built up a loyal clientele. To ensure that Kat and Jeff's relationship doesn't suffer, the two regularly take time out for a date night. The couple spends these evenings without their 12-year-old daughter Lola and does something together. Usually, a grandparent looks after Lola during this time. This is also the case on January 12, 2018. Jeff's father takes Lola to his place, and Kat and Jeff go out to eat at a restaurant together. Afterwards, the couple stops at a liquor store called R&R Liquor Store. This is where this camera footage was shot. Kat and Jeff both seem relaxed and each pick out a bottle of alcohol. Jeff chooses a bottle of whiskey, Kat a bottle of absinthe. After their quick shopping trip, they drive home together. The two drink and use the child-free evening to produce content for Kat's OnlyFans. Jeff even posts a photo of the drinks on his Instagram profile. There is no indication that his wife will be dead the next day. On the morning of January 13, 2018, Makorsha Purifoy has to get up early. She lives on the same street as the Wests. When she sets off for work between 5 and 6 a.m., she's still very tired. But like every day, she gets in her car and sets off, until the night comes to an abrupt halt just a few meters away. Something is lying on the side of the road. Not something, someone. When Makorsha gets out of her car, the blood must have frozen in her veins. Lying in front of her is the nearly naked body of her neighbor Kat West, in the middle of the street in the quiet residential area of Greenwood Circus. Makorsha is in shock. Nevertheless, she quickly turns around and calls 911 from her home. The emergency services arrive quickly, but there is nothing they can do for Kat. She died several hours ago. She appears to have been fatally injured by a blow to the head. Her cell phone and a bottle of absinthe lie next to her body. The only other clues at the scene are the deep red bloodstains her body has left on the street. The 36-year-old's body lies opposite her own home. However, the position of the bloodstains is strange. There are two large puddles that appear to have spread over a period of a few hours. However, Kat has only one bleeding wound. This means that her body must have been moved at least once. The location where the body was found also looks strange. The absinthe bottle is lying half on Kat's cell phone, as if both had been deliberately positioned that way. the police conclude that someone must have placed the objects there and positioned Kat's body, and that this is not a strange household accident, but a murder case. 9 fingerprints are found on the bottle. There is some dried blood on the floor. Part of the glass is cracked at the bottom of the bottle. The investigators conclude that the absinthe bottle was used to fatally injure Kat West. Kat is wearing only a sports bra when she is found. Traces of semen are found in her genital area. However, there is not enough to determine who the semen came from. Of course, the police first question the neighbors, but no one saw or heard anything unusual on Friday evening or Saturday morning. Macorsha Purifoy was the first and only person to discover Kat's body. As the police secure evidence outside the house, Jeff West comes out. He asks what is going on. One of the police officers informs him that his wife has been found dead. The police officer asks Jeff how Kat could have died. Her husband reports that he went to bed as normal the night before. He and his wife Kat had had an argument. She had been constantly looking at her cell phone during the evening they spent together. At some point around 10 p.m., he had become so annoyed that he threw her cell phone outside into the garden. Kat then went outside to get her cell phone while he went to bed. He didn't wake up until the next morning when he was awakened by the flashing lights and the family dog barking. Jeff says that the front door was wide open. The oven in the kitchen was on and there was a plate of bagels in the microwave. The family has a home security system installed. It shows that the front door was opened at 1:51 a.m. and not closed again until 5:12 a.m. Jeff also reports that Kat had often fallen while drunk in the past and injured herself. Jeff therefore implies that Kat may have died in an accident. The police, however, believe it was murder. The West's house is being examined by forensic investigators. A towel with a small amount of blood on it is confiscated from the guest bathroom. Otherwise, the entire West's house is searched for traces of blood without result. The police soon learn about Kat's activities on OnlyFans. Investigators consider the possibility that Kat may have had an online stalker. Perhaps a subscriber to her OnlyFans account who was too attracted to her, stalked her, and ultimately murdered her. The police then check the people behind the accounts that followed Kat on the platform. However, the investigation finds no evidence that any of them could be Kat's killer. The only person who seems suspicious is the one with whom she ran her channel, her husband. On February 22, 2018, Kat's husband, Jeff West, is arrested. He's accused of murdering his own wife. As a result, he is remanded in custody. To be released, Jeff would have to post bail of $500,000, money he doesn't have. So he remains in custody, but maintains his innocence. Jeff repeatedly says he could never have hurt his wife. He's actually supported in this by Kat's parents. When Jeff is arrested for the murder of their daughter, the parents of the murdered woman are shocked. They repeatedly speak out in favor of Jeff's innocence. In numerous interviews, they repeatedly emphasize that they simply cannot imagine Jeff murdering Kat. Jeff West maintains his innocence throughout the trial. Although he does not testify in court himself, his lawyer presents an alternative theory. Kat West fell during the night of January 12th to 13th and suffered fatal head injuries. Jeff is said to have often told friends in the past about Kat's clumsy behavior. She was said to have been very reckless, especially when drunk, and often hung out outside and did gymnastics. That is exactly what happened that night. This time, unfortunately, with a fatal outcome. Kat's parents also testify in court. They testify on behalf of their son-in-law. They say their daughter had a drinking problem and often went overboard. She often injured herself in the process. Kat's mother says she often saw Kat dancing wildly while drunk and scantily clad. Kat's parents consider it much more plausible that she died in an accident while intoxicated than that her husband killed her. However, a forensic pathologist disagrees. Although it is not impossible for Kat to have suffered such a deep head wound from a fall given her small stature, it is highly unlikely. Digital forensic experts were able to determine that a call was made from Jeff's cell phone to Kat's cell phone at 5:19 a.m. Investigators suspect that this was done to throw them off the trail and make it look like he was concerned about his wife's whereabouts. The fingerprints on the absinthe bottle were identified as belonging to Kat and Jeff. The fact that Jeff's fingerprints are on the bottle is not necessarily surprising. After all, he and Kat bought it together. Nevertheless, the police are convinced that the bottle is a murder weapon and that Jeff used it to kill his wife. The autopsy revealed that the size of the wound matches the size of the bottom of the bottle. Numerous text messages between the two are also read out in court as evidence. In one, Kat writes to Jeff, "Prove yourself now or it's goodbye. No more games. I'm never spending another holiday with you. It's the same thing every year. My family treats you like family. Your mother treats me like shit. I'm tired of you being too afraid to stand up to your mother, even though she's a bitch, after almost 14 years of promises. I love you. You don't love me." As counter-evidence, Jeff's lawyers show numerous messages between the two that are completely normal. The two text about their plans for their free time, their daughter, and occasionally Kat sends her husband a topless photo. The angry text messages from Kat presented by the prosecution are claimed to be normal marital disputes. The most convincing evidence of Jeff's guilt is his own statement. After Kat's body was found, he reportedly told a police officer that he had been awakened by the dog barking and the blue lights outside the house. He then went downstairs and found the front door open. However, the home security system shows that the front door was open but was closed again at 5:12 a.m. The police did not arrive on the street until around 5:50 a.m. This means that Jeff could only have seen the police blue lights after he had already closed the front door. Consequently, he was not woken up by the blue lights and lied. In addition, data from Kat and Jeff's health apps is taken into account. Both had a pedometer installed on their cell phones that recorded their movements. Kat's last steps are recorded between 10:45 p.m. and 10:54 p.m. After that, her cell phone does not move. Jeff's phone shows the penultimate movement on January 12th at 10:17 p.m., with 10 steps, and the last movement between 11:03 p.m. and 11:10 p.m., with a total of 18 steps. This contradicts his statement that he went to bed around 10 p.m. and could be evidence of another lie. The next movement is then recorded the next morning, January 13th, between 5:12 and 5:22 a.m., with a total of 59 steps. This fits with the fact that the front door was closed again at 5:12 a.m. At this point, however, it should be noted that the movements are only recorded if you are actually carrying your cell phone with you, for example, in your pocket. If you leave your cell phone lying around and still move, the pedometer cannot record this, of course. Here's a little personal aside. Like almost all of you, I also have a pedometer on my cell phone. And depending on how sensitive the device is, it sometimes records steps even when I haven't moved at all. For example, when I move the hand holding the cell phone. Conversely, steps are sometimes not recorded at all, even though I am walking. I find it difficult to judge whether Jeff really got up again during the 18 steps recorded on his cell phone after 11 p.m. But that's just my personal opinion. Feel free to write in the comments how it works for you. I can't remember any other case where step counter apps have been used as evidence in court. Probably because they can be quite inaccurate. Ultimately, Jeff West is convicted of manslaughter. He does not receive the maximum sentence, officially because the judge takes into account that Jeff West has no previous convictions. He is sentenced to 16 years in prison. So he will be free again in 2034. Jeff tried to appeal, but his appeal was rejected. Jeff will therefore remain in prison for just under another decade for the manslaughter of his wife, Kat West. And that brings us to the end of today's case. We have a convicted murderer here, but also a considerable controversy. Many people still believe that Kat West really died in an accident, and that the murder for which her husband was convicted never happened. What is your take on the whole thing? Do you believe it was murder, or do you think Jeff was wrongfully convicted? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. If you would like to support me, please leave a comment or like. Any interaction increases the likelihood that the video will be recommended to people who haven't subscribed to Insolito yet. Other than that, there's not much more to say. Have a good morning, afternoon, or evening, depending on when you're watching this video, and I hope to see you again in the next video. Until then, ciao everyone.